Good morning. My name is Shelby Pons. I welcome you to the Connecticut State Department of Education 21st Century Community Learning Center Grant Bidders Conference. I would like you to know that this session will be recorded. I'd also ask that you keep yourselves on mute. If you have questions, please use the chat to type your questions in. We will be answering all of the questions through the frequently asked question document. We will update that document and email it out to you after the session and also post it on our website. So we will also be answering some of the questions in the chat if they have already been answered in previous bidders conferences. So with that being said, I'm going to begin, and we have a lot to learn. So this 21st Century Community Learning Center federal funding is to support after school in different locations across the state. The amount of funding is approximately $3 million available for new grants and awards. It is given out in 5-year grants, which will be available through this competitive process. The minimum grant award is $50,000. The maximum is $200,000. Eligible entities include local education agencies, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, other public and private entities, a consortium of 2 or more agencies, organizations, or entities. Private and faith-based school eligibility allows faith-based schools and private schools to apply. However, schools that are targeted to serve specific populations that meet all of the eligibility requirements, which includes 40% or more of students in a school that you're serving, must have the children eligible for free or reduced price meals. They also can only apply if the program is open to all children and not just those who are of a particular faith, enrolled in a particular school, or are members of the applicant organization. So you cannot exclude anyone from attending. The purpose is to fund programs that provide students with academic enrichment and recreational opportunities designed to complement their regular school day, and to provide opportunities for families of these students to participate in educational programs. Applicants must show that they primarily serve students attending schools with a high concentration of low-income students. That threshold is a minimum of 40% of the students in the population are eligible for free and reduced price meals. Programs can be designed to serve students in grades pre-K through grade 12. Each proposal must identify whether the proposal is intended for elementary and middle school or high school. So section A would be your application is to serve either an elementary and or a middle school, and section B you'd be filling out for a high school. It's important to note that applications may submit more than one proposal. It's also important to note that if you are serving pre-K or half-day kindergarten programs, that the before school or after school program that you would be designing cannot be mandatory for all kids to attend. After school programming is always optional. And so if you were to try to create a full day and require students to attend, then that would not be eligible for this funding. Grant awards will be funded at 100% for the first 3 years of funding. In year 4, programs will receive 75% of their initial grant award, and in year 5, the applicant will receive 50% of the initial grant award, as long as the application is never less than $50,000. So I'll give you an example. If you apply for $200,000 and you are awarded $200,000, you will receive $200,000 in year 1, 2, and 3. In year 4, you will receive 75% of $200,000, and in year 5, you would receive 50% of the $200,000. If in year 1 you applied for $50,000, you would never see a reduction in funding because by federal statute, we cannot award less than $50,000. So you would receive $50,000 each of the 5 years. If you were to apply for less than $100,000, you would never be reduced beyond $50,000. So if you applied for $60,000, your reduction in year 4 and 5 would never bring you below $50,000. Continuation of funding within the 5-year grant cycle is contingent upon compliance with state and federal guidelines, which include student attendance and data requirements, use of funds, adequate progress toward program goals, submission of annual end-of-year report, and submission of annual budget. The average cost per center ranges from $150,000 to $200,000, serving an average of 150 students and their parents. Cost per center may be higher or lower depending on the number of individuals served, the array of activities, and the availability of additional resources. Per pupil allocations, elementary and middle school programs should not exceed $2,000 per student, and high school programs should not exceed $2,500 per student. The expectation is for programs to be fully operational with the per pupil allocation, not including program income. Funds can be used to carry out a broad array of before and after school activities. Applicants should clearly outline program offerings, including before school, Saturday, vacation, and summer programming. Activities should be designed to complement learning objectives from the regular school day. Offerings should include opportunities for students to participate in activities outside of what is offered in the regular school day. Your need for a project should provide a clear and detailed description of the community and needs of the target population and describe how the proposed program will address the needs outlined. It's important to be specific in this section about the population that you are going to serve and not your town overall, but very specific to the school and the population of students who will receive programming. Partnerships and collaboration. Provide a detailed description of the partnerships between identified organizations and how these partners will address the specific needs outlined. Describe the collaboration between partners in the grant writing and planning process. I encourage everyone to include students and families in this process. Partners and collaboration. Clearly describe the roles of partners, including specific responsibilities, supervision, evaluation and supports for staff, plans for ongoing communication, and allocation of resources. Describe how the program staff will collaborate with school day staff and share information about program offerings and goals. Also describe how professional development and training opportunities will be shared between partners. Include letters of commitment from the superintendent and school administration that programs have the capacity to invest time and resources and begin programming, notwithstanding a delay in funding. This is very important. The fiscal stability of whoever the fiduciary is, the lead agency, needs to be able to begin programming on time based on your plans, whether or not the funding from the State Department of Education is currently released, or if the paperwork takes longer for the money to get to you. The grant requires you to be able to function when delays happen. So be sure that whoever the lead is would be able to make this happen. Program elements. Identify the target population, including number of students per site, grade levels, and recruitment strategies. Programs must be designed to serve the same students consistently over time. High school applicants are advised to limit the proposed target number to no more than 50 students to better meet individual needs. Include information on days and hours of operation, including start date and end date, days per week, hours per day, total expected weeks, and before school Saturday, vacation, and summer offerings. Programs must operate for a minimum of 25 weeks. Exemplary programs will provide programming from the first week of school to the last week of school. Elementary school programs must operate for a minimum of 4 days a week at 2.5 hours per day. Middle and high school programs
Shelby, you're muted.
program elements. Describe project goals and objectives and how the project will provide services and activities not offered during the school day. Describe homework time, including facility space, days and hours offered, staff to student ratios, and available activities for students who have completed work. Address how you will incorporate literacy, math, and science as part of the academic and enrichment components, including facility space, days and hours offered, and student to staff ratios. Outline offerings for health, nutrition, and recreational programs. Describe additional services, programs, and activities that are designed to complement the school day learning. High school programs must include college and career development activities. Address how the program will meet individual and specific needs of students, including students with individualized education plans, English language learner students, and those at risk of academic failure. Outline plans to incorporate culturally competency practices into programming. Describe activities to support ongoing family engagement. Example of family engagement activities can include adult development activities, parent and child shared activities, governance and leadership activities, and activities that link parents to schools. Describe how snack and/or supper will be provided to students. All programs that qualify for reimbursement are required to participate. Schools where a minimum of 50% of the student population is eligible to receive free or reduced price meals can receive reimbursable snacks, supper options after school. We will provide this link for you to learn more about how to reimburse for these snack and supper options. Address how students will travel safely to and from the program. You can use up to 20% of your budget on travel. Program administration. Include an organizational information of key staff, including identified roles. You must designate a program director, coordinator, and data person. Percentage of time staff will be dedicated to the project, credentials and backgrounds, and roles and responsibilities. Provide a training schedule for direct service certified and non-certified staff to attend a minimum of 2 professional development trainings per year. At least 2 program representatives must attend 3 networking meetings per year, and program directors and coordinators must be trained in the assessment of program practices and tools for assessment of your after-school program. Describe the adequacy of support, including safe and accessible facilities, leverage of existing resources, for example, computer labs, libraries, classrooms, and partner contributions of resources, use of community areas, staff, supplies, etc. Address how the community has been provided with notice of intent to apply and how information is shared in a manner that is understandable and accessible. Outline how private school students will be notified of the program and how officials were included in planning and design. Students who attend private schools and reside in an area served by the 21st Century School are eligible to attend program. It is the responsibility of the program to notify all private schools in the area of this opportunity. This slide speaks to generating program income and parent fees. So the 21st Century Program Statute does not specifically prohibit the collection of parent fees. For grantees who want to collect parent fees, they should understand that the income generated by the fees is considered program income. Per federal guidance, all fees must be nominal. Nominal means very small, far below the real value or cost. No student can be excluded from the program regardless of their ability to pay, and a parent does not have to provide verification of financial status. They simply can state that they are unable to pay. Per federal guidance, all low-income students should be enrolled first with no expectation of them paying a fee. If there is space, then open the program for students who are able to pay utilizing a sliding fee scale. A grantee charges a nominal fee for parents of the student in its after-school program and does not request written prior approval from the Connecticut State Department of Education prior to collecting the parent fees. The parent fees are still considered program income. Without written prior approval from the Connecticut State Department of Ed, the program income would need to be deducted from the amount of funds awarded to the grantee. What this means is you have to apply before you can charge parents any type of fee. If you charge a fee without applying, we would have to reduce the amount of money you collected from the award that we were giving you. Once you apply for the fee and are given approval, that program income must be used in your program. Programs will be required to apply for approval and describe the need for the program fee, why it is that you're applying for that, and why you need it to operate your program. How program fee income will supplement the cost of the 21st Century program. Which sliding scale fee structure will be used to determine the nominal fee. How the process will determine the nominal fees. The process of the nominal fee structure, and the free and reduced lunch demographics of your after-school program. Program income may only be used in the following ways: spent within the fiscal year that the fee is generated, spent only on programs identified in the approved grant application, and fees can only supplement and not supplant, which means adding program time and activities, vacation club, educational field trips, etc., and support additional students outside of the approved grant application. The generation of program income must not be a barrier to the most vulnerable population of participants. The Connecticut State Department of Education will approve individual program income processes on a yearly basis. Additional fiscal monitoring, including preparation of documentation, will be required of the program. When charging parent fees, the after-school student population must mirror the free and reduced lunch demographics of the school that they are serving. For example, if the school being served has 50% of its students eligible to receive free and reduced lunch, the 21st Century program must also serve 50% of students that qualify for free and reduced lunch. For programs that have been granted approval to generate program income, the program will be required to have standard language provided by the Connecticut State Department of Education on all marketing and communication material, website, flyers, registration forms, that states no student or family will be turned away for any reason due to the inability to pay. They must eliminate financial barriers to the registration process. For example, having to provide a credit card to continue the online registration. They also must provide waivers and exemptions for any students and families that states they are unable to pay as determined by a family without requiring a family to provide documentation of financial status. The maximum amount of a program can charge a student who is eligible for free and reduced lunch is $5 per week. The average approved program fee for students who are not eligible for free or reduced lunch is $15 per week. Expenditure of funds and sustainability. Provide a budget and detailed budget narrative for year one that itemizes the use of 21st century funds as well as funds from other sources, including per pupil allocation, transportation costs, which cannot exceed 20% of the total budget, professional development and mileage, reimbursement costs, appropriate personnel, family engagement activities, which must be at least 5% of your annual budget, can be higher. Professional development, database management, quality advising, technical assistance, evaluation. These costs are 5% of your year one budget. So if successful, you will pay 5% in year one. So it's important to budget that to pay for your professional development, database management, quality advising, technical assistant, and evaluation costs for the entire 5 years of your grant. So you only pay one time in year one to receive all of those services. Also, in-kind or matching contributions cannot be derived from other state or federal funding. Funding cannot be used to purchase facilities or support new construction, and funding cannot be used to support large technology purchases. Any funds dedicated for purchase of technology must specifically be used to support the 21st Century Program grant. You must outline a plan to sustain the full scope of the program in years 4 and 5 when funding is reduced and beyond the 5-year grant cycle. There is a funding history section that represents the history of your organization and experience. The section will be used for applicants who have a 21st century funding history since 2008. Funding history will not apply to the 2019-20 and the 2020-21 school year during the COVID-19 pandemic. Applicants can lose up to 6 points in this section. The Connecticut State Department of Education manager will assess the most recent year's performance for the following criteria. And again, I'm going to note that that most recent year would be pre-pandemic, so 2018-19 school year. Program operations followed the grant proposal, including number of weeks, days, and hours that services were provided. Programs served the number of students outlined in the proposal or approved change request. Programs met goals for participant attendance and expectations. Data collection, evaluation, quality improvement, and professional development. A funded applicant must commit to submission of program and student data for monthly attendance reports by the 7th day of each month of programming. Programs must designate a staff member for data entry. Identified staff must attend database trainings and submit required information by deadlines. Programs that do not meet attendance requirements are subject to a decrease in funding or termination of funding. Student data collected includes SACIT information, student demographics, program attendance, and school attendance. Program data collected includes site information, details of activities offered, teacher surveys, and staff information. Programs must complete an end-of-year survey by June 30th of each year of funding. Programs must participate in a designated quality improvement process. This may include trainings, meetings, conference calls, site visits, and interviews. Programs must submit revision request forms and receive approval from the CSDE, the Connecticut State Department of Education Program Manager, before implementing changes from what is presented in the grant application. Programs must send representatives to required Connecticut State Department of Education technical assistance workshops and networking meetings. Licensing requirement. Please note that programs that plan to serve school-age students through this funding opportunity are obligated to meet child care day licensing requirement as defined under Connecticut General Statute Section 19A-77. Programs that are operated by public schools may be exempt from this requirement. All applicants must provide the requested assurance on the grant cover page of this application and/or a copy of their current license. I'd like to note that the State Department of Education does not license programs. This has to happen through the Office of Early Childhood. Programs that plan to serve school-age students through this funding opportunity are obligated to meet child care day licensing requirements as defined under Section 19A-77 of the Connecticut General Statute. Please verify below with an X, this will be in your application, and the signature of the superintendent or authorized personnel when your public school system administers the above named after-school program. So you will have to select, yes, the Board of Education administers the above named program and therefore retains ultimate responsibility for the management and oversight of such program for the staff employed at the program and the children attending the program for the length of this grant funding, which is 5 years. Or no, the Board of Education does not administer the above named program and a copy of the current license is included. In order to be sure, I would like you to check with the Office of Early Childhood to see if you need to be licensed before you go into this process, because if you apply and you are not licensed, you will not be able to provide programming. And if you believe you're exempt but you're not exempt, I still won't be able to award the funding until you are, and that would have to be when the grant begins, and we do not wait or delay funding. So this step is very, very important for all applicants to make sure they are licensed or exempt before submitting the application. Components of a high-quality after-school program. According to the U.S. Department of Education publication, Working for Children and Families, Safe and Smart After-School Programs, there are 9 components present in high-quality programs. Goal setting, strong management and sustainability, quality staffing, high academic standards, attention to safety, health, and nutrition issues, effective partnerships, strong involvement with families, enriching learning opportunities, linkages between school day and after-school personnel, and evaluation of program progress and effectiveness. Applications should be clearly organized and address all required components. Visual information such as charts and graphs should be included as appropriate to help simplify evaluator understanding. These can be input directly into the eGrant system in text boxes. All proposals require signatures from the applicant school district superintendent or authorized personnel and principals of the participating schools. These signatures confirm accuracy of the information provided in the proposal and certify compliance with state and federal laws and regulations, including the sharing of state-assigned student identification numbers for the State Department of Education data collection and reporting. I will note that without the signature of the superintendent and principals of the schools that will be served, the application will not be accepted. Can we please mute ourselves? The review process and criteria will happen. The date that the application was posted is June 1, 2021. Application deadline is July 15th, 2021 at 5 p.m. We will make notifications of successful applicants in August of 2021, and the grant start date should mirror the school year starting September 2021. CSD, the State Department of Education, will convene a panel to review all completed applications received by the due date. Applicants will be rated according to the rubric in the eGrant system. For questions about funding, requirement, grant information, please contact Shelby Pons, myself, at 860-807-2103. For questions about the eGrant process, please contact Millie Crawford, and her information is also included. The only way to apply for this funding is through the eGrant system. We will not take paper applications. You have to use this system in order to be eligible to apply. Slides from this presentation today and written answers to questions posed will be posted online following this conference. Thank you very much and have a nice day.